When I was 10 years old, I vanished for nearly 6 hours. One minute, I was hiding in an old closet, heart pounding with excitement as part of a game of hide and seek. The next, I was running for my life in pitch black darkness, with something unseen chasing me through a house that should have been empty. When I finally burst into the light and safety of my aunt and uncle's farmhouse, I was met with police officers, my frantic parents, and a horrifying truth that no one could explain. The part that still keeps me up at night? I was never alone in that closet, and someone or something else was waiting with me. Looking back now, it sounds like fiction, the kind of thing kids make up to scare each other during sleepovers. But I lived it, and it started on a quiet weekend just outside Charleston, South Carolina. My parents often dropped me off at my aunt and uncle's countryside property when they needed a break. I never minded. It was freedom, acres of open farmland, no rules, no screens, just sky, grass, and mischief. My cousins, Cole and Mason, were around my age, and the three of us were inseparable during those weekends. We built forts out of hay bales, chased chickens, and dared each other to explore every inch of the land. Half a mile down a dirt path was a place we weren't supposed to go. An abandoned farmhouse, weather-beaten and sunken into the earth like it had given up trying to stand straight. It had once been beautiful. White columns, a wraparound porch, but now it stood as a husk of its former self. Windows shattered, roof caved in, the kind of place parents warned you about. Naturally, we went there all the time. Cole, the boldest of the three of us, told stories about the house. He said a man had lost his mind one night in 1978, butchered his wife and 2 daughters with an axe, and then hung himself from the upstairs hallway chandelier. Locals claimed the family never left, that you could hear their footsteps in the attic, that the father's ghost still wandered, looking for children to complete the family. It was all nonsense, of course, or so I told myself. That Saturday, just before dusk, we decided to play hide and seek. I volunteered to hide first, heart racing with anticipation. While Cole and Mason started counting behind the barn, I bolted for the abandoned farmhouse. It was the perfect spot, dangerous, forbidden, and full of hiding places. The front door was stuck shut, so I climbed through a broken side window into what had once been a dining room. Dust hung in the air like fog. The floor groaned beneath every step. I moved quickly, tiptoeing over broken glass and curled wallpaper. Upstairs, I found a small bedroom still holding remnants of a life long gone. An overturned dresser, yellowed books, and in the corner, a closet with the door ajar. Inside were a few long black dresses hanging on a rod, strangely untouched by time. Without hesitation, I stepped in, pulled the folding door shut, and crouched down behind the fabric. A thin beam of sunlight sliced through a crack, just enough to see motes of dust swirling in the air. My knees ached, but I stayed still, listening, waiting, trying not to breathe too loudly. Minutes passed, then maybe more. I lost track of time. My eyelids grew heavy, and before I knew it, I was asleep. When I woke up, everything was dark. At first, I was just confused. Then fear rushed in like ice water. The sliver of sunlight was gone, replaced by total blackness. I'd been left behind. My cousins must have given up looking, figured I'd gone home. But I hadn't. I was still in the closet, and I wasn't alone. I tried to stand, but a sharp cramp in my leg held me in place. That's when I heard it. The distant bang of a door slamming shut somewhere downstairs. My body froze. A long silence followed. Then footsteps, slow, dragging, impossibly heavy, echoed through the wooden floorboards below. These were not the footsteps of a child. Each step was accompanied by a dull, scraping sound, like something being pulled across the floor, something heavy. My breath hitched. I clamped my hands over my mouth. The footsteps moved up the stairs. The air in the closet turned sour, filled with a sickly sweet rot. The scraping grew louder, closer. Then the steps reached the bedroom. I could hear them, just inches away, crossing the room toward me. And then they stopped, right in front of the closet door. Silence. Followed by something far worse. Breathing. Wet, shallow, raspy, right behind me. Then warm breath grazed the back of my neck. I didn't think. I exploded out of the closet, crashing through the door, stumbling into furniture and shadows. My heart pounded in my throat as I bolted down the stairs, across the creaking hallway, and out the door, barely noticing that the front door was now somehow wide open. I ran. I ran like I'd never run before, screaming into the cold country night, not daring to look back, not stopping until I reached the farmhouse porch and saw the flashing red and blue lights of a police cruiser. My parents were there. So were my aunt and uncle. Cole and Mason stood off to the side, pale and shaken. They said they'd searched the abandoned house. All of it. Multiple times. They never found me. What they didn't tell anyone, not the police, not even my parents, was what Cole finally admitted to me years later. At some point during the search, he and Mason had looked up at the second-floor bedroom window, the same room I had hidden in. Someone was there. A boy, smiling and waving for them to come inside. Only it wasn't me. And I hadn't woken up yet. If you're still here, still breathing, I need you to do something important. Subscribe to the channel. It's your support that helps us keep bringing real, chilling stories like this to life. And trust me, the next one is even darker. Before you go, tell me this in the comments. What do you think was in the closet with me? A ghost still haunting the house? B, something even worse pretending to be human? Drop your answer below, A or B, and let's see what theory scares you the most. It's strange how ordinary moments can open the door to something extraordinary and terrifying. For me, it started on a crisp October night in Hollow Ridge, Colorado, during one of our regular Friday games of Manhunt. It was a tradition, a ritual, almost. Every kid on our block knew where to be once the sun dipped below the tree line. We didn't have malls or movie theaters nearby, and most houses in our neighborhood sat far apart, surrounded by thickets of pine and long-forgotten paths that blurred the edges between forest and suburbia. That night, the air was colder than usual, the kind of chill that settles deep in your clothes and makes the shadows seem darker than they should be. I remember pulling my hoodie tighter around my chest, scanning the twilight horizon, waiting for the first sign of movement. There were 7 of us that night. Alan, the oldest at 17, always acted like the unspoken leader. Then there was Marcus, my best friend and the person I trusted the most in the world. Johnny, Megan, Maya, and Eli rounded out the group, each of them younger but fearless in their own way. Despite the age differences, we were tight. Small-town kids with big imaginations, constantly pushing the boundaries of fear. We split into 2 teams, as usual. I was on defense with Marcus, and when our turn came to hide, he nudged me with a grin that meant trouble. "Let's use the Whitaker place," he whispered. I hesitated. The old Whitaker house had been vacant for years. Mr. Whitaker, a geologist who lived alone, passed away in his sleep 3 winters ago. Since then, the place had just sat there, slumped in silence, collecting dust and vines. No one mowed the lawn. No one fixed the broken windows. It had become part of the landscape, an abandoned monument to something unfinished. And yet, despite its loneliness, the house had a reputation. Some said they saw lights flicker on inside late at night. Others claimed they heard a piano playing. But there was no electricity, and Mr. Whitaker had never owned a piano. I shrugged. "You sure?" Marcus just smiled and ran ahead. We slipped through the backyard, ducking under broken fence panels until we reached the edge of the overgrown lawn. There, tucked between 2 weeping willows, was the house, looming and breathless, as though it had been waiting for us. Marcus pushed open a crooked side window and climbed in. "Back in 5, he whispered, disappearing into the dark. I crouched in the bushes, heart pounding, not from the game, but from something else. Something I couldn't name yet. The silence around the house felt unnatural, too still. I tried to shake it off. It was just a game. 5 minutes passed, then 10. I hadn't seen any of the seekers, but I also hadn't seen Marcus. I scanned the windows, hoping for a signal. That's when I saw it. Upstairs, through the far right window of what used to be the master bedroom, someone was standing. It was Marcus, or at least it looked like him. He was completely still, pressed against the glass, his face bathed in the dull blue of the moonlight. But something was wrong. He wasn't moving. He wasn't signaling me. He wasn't blinking. I waved. No response. A strange nausea bloomed in my gut. Maybe he couldn't see me. Maybe he was just playing around. But the longer I stared, the more something inside me screamed that this wasn't part of the game. I made my way to the same window he'd used to climb in and pulled myself through. The air inside the house was thick, stale, like forgotten time. My footsteps echoed as I called out softly, Marcus? Dude, a voice said from behind me, making me jump. I turned to find Marcus standing at the foot of the stairs, eyes wide and pale. You scared the hell out of me, I hissed. How'd you get back down? I never went up, he said. My breath caught in my chest. Then who the hell is in the window? We both looked toward the ceiling. A single creak echoed above us, slow, purposeful. We didn't wait. We turned and bolted, clambering back out the way we came, sprinting across the yard and down the street until we made it back to Alan's house, where everyone else was already gathering. The game was over. No one questioned why. Later that night, Marcus told his dad, Mr. Danner. He was skeptical at first, but after hearing the whole story, he agreed to walk us back and take a look. He'd known Mr. Whitaker personally and said he'd been in the house dozens of times when he was younger. He even had an old spare key. We entered the house again, this time through the front. It looked even darker now, every step creaking beneath our feet like a warning. Upstairs, the master bedroom stood empty. No figure, no sign of life. Just a crumpled, reddish-brown blanket lying in the middle of the floor, like someone had been there not long ago. We searched the rest of the house. Nothing. No footprints, no broken boards, no signs anyone's been here, Mr. Danner said, his voice unusually quiet. Then what did I see? I asked, but no one answered. Before we left, he locked the door behind him and said something I'll never forget. If you ever see anything in this house again, he said, you don't go in, you come straight to me, and we call the police. It's been 4 months since that night. No one's gone back to the Whitaker house. Not even Marcus. But I still walk past it sometimes, just to see. And every time I do, I can't help but glance up at that same window. I haven't seen anything since. But deep down, I know that wasn't Marcus standing there, and I'm not sure it was ever human. Some stories never fully leave us. For the narrator, 2 seemingly innocent games of hide and seek became encounters with something inexplicable, something lurking just beyond the veil of understanding. From the eerie breath behind the closet door to the motionless figure in a window that should have been empty, each moment served as a chilling reminder that there are places where reality thins and something else steps in. These were not just childhood scares, but echoes of a deeper fear, being truly alone, yet not. Years later, the memory still haunts him, not because he saw a ghost, but because no one ever proved it wasn't real. The real lesson here? Always listen to your instincts. Whether it's that uneasy feeling when you walk into a room or that lingering doubt before making a choice, your intuition is often more aware than you realize. In our modern world full of distractions, we've been conditioned to ignore the quiet whisper in the back of our minds. But sometimes that whisper is the only thing standing between you and danger. Use it, trust it, and teach your children to do the same. Now, let's see what you think. Quiz time. Drop your answer in the comments. What do you believe was really behind the closet and in the window? A. A lost spirit still bound to the place. B. A dark entity pretending to be someone familiar. Type A or B in the comments to let us know what you believe. And we want to hear your thoughts. Do you think stories like these are warnings, coincidences, or something more? Share your opinion in the comments so others can hear your take too. If this story chilled you, hit that subscribe button and help us keep telling these unforgettable tales. Your support gives us the fuel to dig deeper into the darkness and bring more of it to light.